Welcome to Connection Ministries Summer Friendship Gathering Training Series for volunteers. This episode offers guidance for worship leader.
Thank you for your willingness to help guide us in worship during the 2020 Summer Friendship Gathering. We appreciate your willingness to review these training materials. This video will outline our goals for worship and preview this year's theme and lessons. Time will be set aside for worship on all 3 evenings of the gathering. On day 1 and 2, following the fellowship meal, 15 minutes are set aside for a few worship songs and an opening prayer. This worship time is to prepare our hearts for the large group lessons and discussion time. Over the years, I have come to value this time because our friends with disabilities value this time. They love worship music. Some can follow better than others, but nearly every heart is connected with God during these times. Through their example, I've learned a great deal about worship. I don't have to be a good singer or know the words. I don't need to restrain myself. I can simply belt it out, knowing God is pleased. On day 3, following the fellowship meal, everyone will gather for a group photo and then go for the closing worship service. In the message of this service, we will pull together the lessons from the gathering and encourage Christian action as we leave the gathering, and we can talk more about these opportunities for worship later in this video. It will be helpful to focus on the theme and the content of our lessons to help as you select songs and plan the worship service. The theme for this summer is Holy Spirit, the Flame Within Me. Jesus promised his disciples that after he left, his Father would send a helper, and this helper is the Holy Spirit. We all struggle to follow in Jesus' steps, and we desperately need this helper. Just like the disciples, the Holy Spirit is with every believer, and he gives us the power and the gifts we need to walk in Jesus' steps. Our theme Bible verse for this coming summer comes from Acts chapter 1, verse 8. But you will receive power when the Holy Spirit comes on you. Then you will tell people about me in Jerusalem, in all of Judea and Samaria, and you will even tell other people about me from one end of the earth to the other. On the first evening of the gathering, we will look at the book of Acts, chapters 1 and 2, and here we'll find the story of the arrival of the promised Holy Spirit and the birth of the church. The Holy Spirit appeared with a flurry of sound, what looked like tongues of flame that landed on each of the disciples' heads. They began to speak in languages that they had not known before. Peter spoke to a crowd that gathered from all over the known world. He was filled with great wisdom and courage that came from the Holy Spirit. The Bible said about 3,000 were baptized that day. These early believers studied what the apostles taught and shared their lives together. We will learn more about how they were transformed by this Holy Spirit. On the second evening, we'll jump ahead to Acts chapter 9 and see how the Holy Spirit gives us courage. Our story is about a man named Saul, later known as Paul. Saul was a Jewish leader who did not like people who followed Jesus, and he wanted them all arrested. While traveling to Damascus to arrest more of Jesus' followers, the risen Jesus appeared to Saul and asked him why he was persecuting him. Saul was left blind and was led into the city. The Lord called out to a man named Ananias who lived in Damascus in a vision. He told Ananias to go to Saul and lay hands on him. Ananias knew about Saul and that he wanted to arrest the believers, so he was afraid, but Ananias had courage and still met with Saul. Saul received his sight after Ananias laid hands on him, and he became a faithful follower. Ananias and the other believers had to overcome their fear to help Saul. In the closing worship service, the message will look at a story from Acts chapter 16. In this story, the Holy Spirit helped Paul and Silas witness to the prisoners, the prison guard, and his family, even while they were in chains themselves. Despite being beaten and chained up, Paul and Silas prayed and sang hymns of praise. Imagine singing hymns of praise while you're in prison. A powerful earthquake caused all the prison doors to fly open, and the chains became loose. The guard was afraid. He thought that all the prisoners had escaped. But he wanted to kill himself. But Paul assured him that they were all still there. Paul later baptized the guard and his entire family. During this worship service, we will pray and sing hymns of praise to God. We are free to do this because we have the Holy Spirit in us. If you want more information about these lessons, there are additional videos that go deeper into the curriculum. Worship music and participating in the singing is an important part of every friendship group, and live music is always best. However, not every group has someone who can lead music. If this is the case, pre-recorded music and the use of technology can be used. Be sure to arrange for both the equipment and a volunteer who can operate this technology. Connection Ministries may assist if necessary. I always suggest using YouTube for music leadership. Regardless of the music source, the lyrics for the song should be available on printed handouts or projected on a screen. It won't matter if you use handouts or a projector, but the size of the font will matter. Make sure the font is large enough and easy to read. A computer or tablet with a projector can be used to project YouTube music videos with lyrics on a screen. It will be important to carefully select these videos, the lyrics that aren't flashing single words on the screen. It should at least display a sentence at a time. The choice of songs will also be important. The songs should be well known and easy to follow and sing. There will be a YouTube playlist of songs on the Connection Ministries YouTube channel that were selected based on this year's theme. It is important to stay on schedule during the gathering. Our friends with disabilities will need to leave for home on time for their evening routines. Churches who are partnering on a Summer Friendship Gathering event can divide up the worship music responsibilities. On days 1 and 2, there are 15 minutes allotted for worship music leading into the large group lesson. It is important to start at the scheduled time and not wait till everyone is in place. The very sound of the music will move people from the dining area into the worship space. Depending on the length of the songs, consider 3 to 4 songs. Be flexible to keep the start of the lesson on schedule. On day 3, you can plan on the same 3 to 4 songs leading into the worship and 1 upbeat song for the closing. The layperson or pastor who gives the worship service message is encouraged to use the Bible lesson from Acts 16 as described in the large group lesson guide. The discussion booklet that each participant will take home will make certain points that should be highlighted in this message. This will still leave considerable flexibility in the message presentation. Whoever delivers this message can review the video for preparing the large group lesson for details on the main points that should be in the day 3 lesson. You are encouraged to review the notes for this presentation and a YouTube playlist of optional worship songs. The links to these resources can be found on the Connection Ministries website next to the link for this training video. Thank you for your willingness to be part of this summer's friendship gathering. If you have any questions or need information, you can email us at connect@connectionministries.org or call our office at 317-646-5067.
If you would like to provide financial support for the summer friendship gatherings, you can give online at connectionministries.org.